Clean primer pockets, dirty primer pockets. Does it really matter, and is it worth the time and effort? We're going to take a look. Here's the debate. Do you have to have clean primer pockets, or can you just shoot dirty ones? Now, traditionally, mine get probably 90% clean in my rice dry tumbling. This video brought to you by ShootingBot. I use ShootingBot because I like to set up in-stock alerts for primers, powder, and other items. I can go in and search for something like 180 hybrids. It'll show me who has it, and if they don't, how long they've been out of stock and what the last pricing was. And I can create a notification list so that if anything comes in that's on my list, I instantly get a text. For me, this is the best way to get any components that I'm looking for. So if you're out there looking for primers, powder, brass, bullets, and ammo, give ShootingBot a try. But there's always going to be a certain amount, and I could honestly just pull it out with my tweezers here. There's always going to be a certain amount of, guck that is trapped in the corners. Now, if you're wet tumbling, these are going to be crystal clean. That's a totally different issue. What I'm talking about is after cleaning through a dry tumbling method, whether it's walnut, corn, rice, whatever your method is. And, in the past, I've used the K&M tool. Every time I want to reload, I would go in and clean the primer pockets. I've also just left them dirty. I still, just as a caveat, all my virgin brass goes through and gets the primer pockets uniformed with that 3-in-1 carbide tool. I do believe that uniforming the pockets definitely has an effect. But I think what really is worth asking is, do I need to use that tool every single time? And, honestly, I haven't checked this in a long time. It's been a while since I've kind of done a head-to-head test with dirty primer pockets and clean primer pockets. So what we're going to do, this is processed brass. It's all exactly the same. It's all been trimmed the same, chamfered, sized, expanded. Everything on it's the same. The only difference is that I have these that are sparkly clean from going through the tool, and these which still have some residue in them. I will tell you, measuring them out, obviously these are going to be very consistent. They're right about 12.8, 12.9 on the depth. My dirty ones, however, 11.4, 11.5, 11, 11.4. So you can kind of see, like, it's still consistent when it's dirty. 11.6. That one's 12. 11.5. I mean, they're all kind of right. That one's 12.3. So there is some decent variance in here. 12.3, 11.5, 11.6. So you can see there's definitely a variance in there. If I look at these, I can just tell you, like, these are all right at 12.8, maybe 12.9 if I hit it hard. 12.8, 12.8, 12.9, 12.8, 12.8, 12.8. So very consistent. Obviously, we've got a little bit of variance over here. I'm going to run them through my Dillon priming system, and I will just show you real quick. That's going to be right here. And, I have had traditionally very good luck running through my Dillon. I get a little bit of variance, but I use the Armanoff indexing block on the left side. It comes with a replacement spring that goes up under here that you need to make sure you use. But I am very happy with what I am getting for my depth. But we're going to run these through. I'm going to get them loaded up, and then we're going to go out to the range, and we're going to shoot some groups at 300 yards. I'm going to be doing a powder test. I think this will be really interesting to see how does the powder test with the dirty primer pockets look versus the primer or the powder test with the clean primer pockets. So I'll get them loaded up. We're going to head out to the range. We're going to have some fun. We are ready to do our primer pocket test. I have clean primer pockets, unclean primer pockets. We've got my Borden Dima March set up here. You can see I've got it in my Neo X rest. Every time I do a video, people ask what's in there, so I always tell people. We have an electronic target. I'm the target down on the right. And it is definitely not a wind tunnel kind of morning. It's tough to show, but it's definitely breezy, rainy. I actually don't mind shooting in these conditions. And we're just gonna see how this goes. We are going to go ahead and sight in and blow off because it is a clean barrel. So we'll foul it out with 5 or 6 rounds, and then we will get to our testing. Here we go. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. To preserve my aiming point, we're actually gonna move a minute off of this. So we are at there. All right, so we moved a minute. Now I can aim at the same aiming point and preserve that, and then shoot our groups below. And what we're gonna do, so this is 55, what are we at? 56 grains, 56.5, and 57. Same thing here, 56, 56.5, and 57. And then we have unclean pockets, clean pockets. So I'm gonna run these, and I'm gonna run these, and because I know there will be people that say, well, the barrel's gonna heat up, we're gonna go alternating. So we're gonna go back and forth. So odd numbers are going to be unclean, even numbers are going to be clean. And let me reset the chronograph here. All right. All right. So here we go. We're going to run the 56 grain test. Single point of aim. And this is no more rounds than I would shoot at a match, so that's why I'm doing this amount. And then we'll let the barrel cool, and then we'll do the next charge test. And we'll split out from the chronograph the ESSDs between these to see what is really going on between them as well. So don't worry. There's a little breeze. Almost there. And you'll notice if you're watching, I'm not looking at the screen at all. I'm not looking at where the impacts are. I'm just focused on the shooting. We're going to look at the results when we're done. So that was 56 with 10 uncleaned and 10 clean. We're gonna let this cool down. We'll come back, do it again. Now that we've done the first group and we've let the barrel cool down, we're now going to do, we did 56, now we're gonna do 56.5. Obviously, you saw that, because I gave you a little preview there, but you saw that honestly there was almost zero difference in the group size between the two. So we'll see if that holds up over the next two tests here. All right, same thing, back and forth. And I've reset my chrono. Yeah, you're welcome. You have a good day.
Take care.
While it was cooling down, I let a guy to the left of me who's never shot an electronic target. He was doing some fun shooting, and I let him shoot on my target. He really enjoyed it. Am I off one? Huh. I think I'm off one. All right, I'll have to look on the camera on the video. So I'm 6 in, but only 5 in. So I'm just gonna go ahead and shoot. It'll be 2-2 at this point. Do 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 do. This probably gives a better idea of what the weather's like that I'm shooting in right now. For some reason on the line side, it just never looks this bad. This is now going to be our last group of ammo. We did 56, we did 56.5, now we're going to do 57. Again, dirty pockets, clean pockets, nothing else is different. I have reset the chronograph. You saw what it looked like when I was on the other side of outside the building here. So, you know, that's some of the windage that you're seeing on those groups. It's definitely from what's going on out there, because I am just holding single point of aim. So, all right, let's get these done, and then we can go look at them at the shop. And as I've said before, my phone is all the way on the other side of me. I'm not looking at it. It is not important when I'm testing like this. Make sure I didn't get off on my count again. And this is not, you know, really a group test per se. I mean, this is about showing you 3 different powder charges, 60 rounds total here, 30 rounds in each pocket, and just seeing, you know, if it really matters across a bunch of rounds. And that's it. That is all she wrote. So we'll go ahead and let's throw some record round on here. But I suspect we're going to see the same thing we saw on the last two tests, which is that it really doesn't make much difference. And again, I'm not talking about originally uniforming them or anything. This is just, these are all on 5 and 6 firings. Actually, yeah, 4 and 5 firings. Okay, so if we zoom in here. So again, total group size is 2.12 on 20 rounds at 300 yards. And on the left side, odd and even. Right side, close to odd and even. Top and bottom, odd and even. So, there's almost an argument that that's just a little. Like the odd was just, the dirty one was actually just a hair better. But, honestly, these are all pretty much squared out. So, that tells me, I don't know. Well, let's head back to the shop and take a closer look on a computer where I have a little more space and we can go over it. Here's the first group. This was 56 grains. You can see the ESs on the left with as well as the velocities for both dirty and clean primer pockets. You can see on this particular target, it was almost 7, basically 7 feet per second better ES with the dirty primer pockets than the clean. The group was a little wide. Again, I attribute some of that to, the wind that was out there. But overall, good group. And you can see if you look left, right, top, and bottom, there are almost literally an odd and an even left, right, top, and bottom, meaning there was really no clear winner in any direction between the two. Looking at the second set of targets, this was 56.5. Again, a nice round group. And again, dirty brass, slightly better ES. Left, right, top, bottom, odd and even numbers everywhere. Same, really almost an exact duplicate in terms of results that we saw on the first one. And I do realize people are going to say, well, these are very small sample sizes. And look, I don't disagree, but 10 shots is still 10 shots of each. And I think given what the groups look like, I'm pretty happy to say that, at least in my head, after these two, it's looking like there's virtually no difference between them. Last target, this was 57 grains. And out of the 3 groups, this is the only one where the clean primer pockets had a lower ES. So I think this is actually a good thing, because this tells me that on any given day, the dirty or the clean could have a slightly better ES. And ES is not everything. ES tells us a lot of stuff. It does not always show up on target. For me, the goal on 20 shots typically is going to be somewhere around 20 or less. Really, after that, I don't really see much difference on target. It's a nice round group. It's roughly 2 inches in diameter. Again, we're shooting at 300 yards, so I'm pretty happy with a 20-shot group like that. Just like before, left, right, top, bottom, we have odds and evens. There's a 12 out the right. I think before we had number 8 was out the right. But, really 5 and 12 are pretty close, so odd and even, bottom, top. So what do we have? Well, at the end of the day, this tells me that, at least for my circumstances with how I clean my brass and everything else, I probably don't need to be cleaning the primer pockets every time I shoot. Now, your mileage may vary. You may not have as clean primer pockets at the end. There's a lot of things that could change. But I hope maybe this helps at least give you some solace that cleaning primer pockets may not always be necessary. As always, get out there and shoot. Have a good one. We will talk later.